My voice sounds like absolute torture right now, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. What is up, guys? It's my Chief Ben here. Welcome back to another video. And today I'm here with part 2 of my holiday haul. Yay, and it's the final part. I have one more package coming, but it's just one more book, so I'm not even gonna waste your guys' time with it. I may just tell you right now, it's A Personal Matter by, what's that guy's name? Like, Kenzubako. I'm not even gonna try to say his name. Like, I may post a picture of the book right here, but it's a book about this man that has like a child that's mentally retarded, and I don't know what else to say, but because I don't know anything about this book and I haven't read it yet, so that'll be. I've heard great things about it, so I hope it's good. But anyway, enough about that. We're going to do my physical copy book haul, which I have really been excited to do for the past couple of days because my first holiday book haul video did extremely well. It's already almost at 150 views, and I just wanted to give you guys part 2. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so I have exactly 13 books to show, and the first one is Donna Tartt's The Little Friend. The last Donna Tartt book that I had to buy, and yes, this is and I know that most people hate this book. This is like, people say it's her worst book. People say it's an absolute catastrophe. I still loved this. It is definitely her is definitely her worst book. I will admit to that. But it's still great. I have no idea why people hate this so much. Maybe it's because, like, it's so different from The Secret History that I just have to say, and, like, The Secret History and The Goldfinch. Like, The Secret History and The Goldfinch kind of interlink with one another, but this one's, like, completely different from those two. So I kind of understand it getting some bad ratings, but not as many bad ratings as I see it get. But, yeah, The Little Friend is a really good book. I personally think. I think the characters are very well constructed, the story is very good, and the writing is just perfect. I think it's the fact that she focuses on a southern town instead of an upscale New England and northerner person or group is probably why people are kind of turned off by it, but I don't know what you guys think. Tell me, if you've read this book, tell me what you guys think, but that's just my hypothesis. I know it's probably not true, but hey, that's what I think. So, The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. It's a fantastic book. And the next book is another book by one of my favorite authors that has gotten a lot of hate, but I absolutely love it. In fact, I think it's his it's the second best book from this guy, and that is The Marriage Plot by Jeffrey Eugenides. I loved this. I have no idea why people hate this so much. I just thought it was another fantastic book. I mean, Madeline and sure Leonard or Leonard, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Leonard, actually. I don't know why it's pronounced it Leonard, but The Marriage Plot, the one thing that I took away from this book was Leonard. Oh, there I go again. Leonard, because I thought he was a really pretentious and upstate, like, kind of way too hipsterish character. But that's what most people said this entire book was, and I don't think it was that at all. It was just kind of like deconstructing that type of lifestyle. It's just kind of like it was kind of like The Secret History by Donna Tartt, but not really at the same time because it's not like an epic murder story. It's more about it's kind of like aligning the marriage plot that you keep seeing in books like Middlemarch and Pride and Prejudice, maybe, but it's like that type of story, but it kind of like coincides with contemporary college life instead of upscale aristocrats in Europe. But The Marriage Plot is absolutely fantastic, I personally think, so I cannot recommend this enough. Alright, the next book is another book that I read, and I love this book. It's not one of my favorite authors because this is one of the only book that I read from him, but so far. But I love it, and that is A Single Man by Christopher Isherwood. This is another fantastic LGBTQ book. It's about a man named, I keep having bad names with name. George. Yeah, is that right? Yes, George. And he loses his husband, and it's just kind of his life just without his husband and how he copes with that. And how it's like being a single man once again. In kind of a world where homosexuals are just not accepted. And it's absolutely beautifully written. And I'm sorry for my voice again. It's getting bad once again. But a single man, it's, like I said, it's gorgeously written. It is unbelievably gorgeous in its writing. And the characters are completely well constructed. I just think that the story kind of slags in the middle. But still, it's a fantastic book, and I cannot recommend it enough. And I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars when I read it. It's really short, but really wonderful. Alright, the next book, the first 5 books I showed off are books I've already read. But, the first one, this one is, Swamplandia by Karen Russell. Swamplandia is just so outrageous, so funny, and this is another book that has god-awful ratings on Goodreads, but I love this so much. It is just so wacky and so bizarre and so funny, yet it has great characters, a really interesting story, and I think, oh man, that was something, but Swamplandia, stupid coughs get me off track. Swamplandia is just great. I have nothing else to say. Oh my goodness, this is horrible. Alright, the next book is Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses. Yet another really amazing book from Salman Rushdie. It's Salman Rushdie. What do you expect? It's gonna be fantastic. Sure, I've only read this and Midnight's Children, but they're 2 of the greatest books I've ever read in my entire life. I swear to God that he just keeps impressing me as he goes along, I go along through his bibliography, but Salman Rushdie is one of my personal favorites so far, and I cannot recommend this enough. And Midnight's Children. Oh, Midnight's Children is so good. Talk about beautiful magical realism. And finally, a book I haven't read! But anyway, this is Osamu Dazai's The Setting Sun. I bought this because I liked No Longer Human, and I found this really cheap on Amazon, and I'm like, yeah, let's just complete the collection, because he only really wrote 2 novels, and these are the only 2 or at least these are the only 2 in these editions, and these are the only 2 novels that I know of. And, like I said, No Longer Human, I liked it. It wasn't amazing. I was kind of expecting more from it. But it just kind of it started and then, it got really good and then it just ended. Like I said, just Osamu Dazai overall has just been a really disappointing author recently. I just haven't really connected with him as much as Yukio Mishima or Haruki Murakami. But for a guy who wrote 2 novels, yeah, he's kind of impressive. But, I don't know. I just haven't been the biggest fan of him so far. And speaking of Mishima, I have not 1, not 2, but 3 of his novels. Well, 2 novels and 1 short story collection. So, the first one I'm going to be talking about is Forbidden Colors. And this is a chunky Mishima book. This is 400 pages, which that is not often that you see a Yukio Mishima book over 400 pages. And I have another one that's nearly 400 pages in this pile. So, this one I think is about a man trying to seek revenge on his wife, and he finds out, with the help of his, homosexual friend. But it sounded awesome, and I just needed to get it, so, yeah! Alright, the next one is a short story collection. It's A Death in Midsummer and Other Stories, and this is a really short one. It's not even 200 pages, so I may get to this one soon, so, yeah. And then finally, we have Spring Snow by Yukio Mishima. Spring Snow, this is the first book in the Sea of Fertility series, which is kind of his grand finale as an author. He took 5 years, his last 5 years of life, well, 5 or 6, I don't know, but he took the last 6 years of his writing career, and he wrote a 4-part series called The Sea of Fertility, and this is the first one. And I heard they get shorter and shorter as they go along, so that's kind of settles me in with it. But this sounds absolutely fantastic. It's kind of like a study of a Japanese aristocrats in the 1910s, and kind of like that time during World War One. And it sounds fascinating. It sounds really dramatic, and I hope that I like the series because I've been finally getting into some series. Like what was that series I was really? It's just so stupid to me. The Old Man's War series. I know that's completely different, but I love that series so far. And also of course I loved Lord of the Rings. I loved Narnia. What's another series I really like the first Hitchhiker's Guide book, but the second one didn't impress me as much. But Yukio Mishima, that's completely different stuff. I love this. I love Mishima, so I think I'm gonna love this. That's what I was meaning to say. And then now we have new other books. Yay! But anyway, the first one is the first one. We've literally gone through other ones. Why do I keep saying the first one? But the Sellout by Paul Beatty. Yay! This is the winner of the Man Booker Prize, and well, the Man Booker Prize of this year. And usually, I have a confession to make. I don't usually like the Man Booker Prize winners, with the exception of ones like Midnight's Children, and Midnight's Children won the Man Booker, right? Did it? I think it did, but and The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. I am not a fan of the Man Booker Prize. I think loads of them are very pretentious and very bad. So, but this one sounds good. This one is very humorous. This one sounds funny. It kind of tackles racism as well as just kind of like society in general. And it's not that long, so I hope it's good. I've heard it's really good, so yeah. Next up is The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. I already talked about this book. It's a book about religion and kind of like his life in Harlem, and it's phenomenal. It's one of my it's like one of my 2 5 out of 5 star ratings, and I'm in December, and I love it. It's phenomenal. Alright, the next book I'm gonna stop and talk about a little bit, and that is Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This book, I was expecting to love it because I loved Americana. Like, Americana was a fantastic book. And then I read this. Okay, critically, it's a good book. But personally, it just hits too much to home. Too close to home that I just couldn't enjoy it. I could not enjoy it. It was way too depressing, and I despised the characters. They were horrible. Like, I know they were supposed to be unlikable, but they were just beyond terrible. I know Adichie was she grasped the concept of writing good stories with good writing from the very beginning, but she needed to work on characters because this character cast was absolutely terrible, and it's what killed this book. This book, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars, when it really should have gotten at least a 3 out of 5 stars. It was just something else, and Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is personally just an author who I thought I was going to love, and I loved the first book that I read from her, but this one just didn't do anything for me. Instead, except with good story, good writing. Why do I keep coughing? It's good story, good writing, unbelievably god-awful characters. So, Purple Hibiscus, even though it's not awful, I wouldn't recommend it. And the last book that I have is another Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie book, House of a Yellow Sun. This one is a lot closer to Americana through its premise, and it doesn't sound nearly as depressing, so that sounds good. So I hope I enjoy this. I hope it isn't just another ultra depressing book, because then I may just go ahead and call DJ one of the most disappointing authors ever, because Americana was just so good, and I was expecting her whole entire bibliography to be so good. But I'm making snap judgments. I heard this book is just as amazing as Americana, so I hope I enjoyed this a lot. So that was the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below on what you guys thought of the video. And before I cough one more time, I just should probably just end this video. So, with that out of the way, I'm Mega Man Chief Fan, and I'll see you later, guys.